show again, children. This one is called Horrid Henry's Computer. No, said Dad. No, said Mum. The new computer is only for work, said Dad. My work, Mum's work, and school work. Not for playing silly games, said Mum. But everyone plays games on their computer, said Henry. Not in this house they don't, said Dad. He looked at the computer and frowned. He said. How do you turn this thing off? Like this, said Horrid Henry, and he pushed the off button. Aha, said Dad. It was so unfair. Rude Ralph had intergalactic robot rebellion. Dizzy Dave had Snake Master's Revenge the Third. Moody Margaret had Zippy Zappers. Horrid Henry had Beer Spelling Champion, Virtual Classroom, and Whoopee for Numbers. Aside from Beefy Bert, who'd been given Counting Made Easy for his Christmas present, no one else had such awful software. What's the point of finally getting a computer if you can't play games? Said Horrid Henry. Well, you can improve your spelling, said Perfect Peter, and write essays. I've already written one for school tomorrow. I don't want to improve my spelling, shouted Henry. I want to play games. I don't, said Perfect Peter, unless it's Name That Vegetable, of course. Quite right, Peter, said Mum. You're the meanest parents in the world, and I hate you, shrieked Henry. You're the best parents in the world, and I love you, said Perfect Peter. Horrid Henry had had enough. He leapt onto Peter, snarling. He was just like the Loch Ness Monster, gobbling up a thrashing duck. And here he is, look, jumping onto his so-good brother. Ow! Squealed Peter. Go to your room, Henry, shouted Dad. You're banned from the computer for a week. We'll see about that, muttered Horrid Henry, slamming his bedroom door. Horrid Henry sneaked past Mum and Dad's room and slipped downstairs. There was the new computer. Henry sat down in front of it and looked longingly at the blank screen. How could he get some games? He had 53p saved up, but that wasn't even enough for Snake Master's Revenge 1, he thought miserably. Everyone he knew had fun on their computers. Everyone except him. He loved zapping aliens. He loved marshalling armies. He loved ruling the world. But no, his yucky parents would only let him have educational games. Oh! When he was king, anyone who wrote an educational game would be fed to the lions. Horrid Henry sighed and switched on the computer. Maybe some games were hidden on the hard disk, he thought, hopefully. Mum and Dad were scared of computers, and wouldn't know how to look. The word password flashed up on the screen. I know a good password, thought Horrid Henry, and quickly he typed in smelly socks. Then Horrid Henry searched and searched and searched. But there were no hidden games, just boring stuff like Mum's spreadsheets and Dad's reports. Rats, thought Henry. He leaned back in the chair. Would it be fun to switch around some numbers in Mum's dreary spreadsheet? Or add a few words like yuck and yah boo you're a ninny to Dad's stupid report? Not really. Wait, what was this? Perfect Peter's homework essay. Let's see what he's written, thought Henry. Perfect Peter's essay appeared on the screen, entitled, Why I Love My Teacher. Poor Peter, thought Henry. What a boring title. Let's see if I can improve it for him. Tap, tap, tap. Peter's essay was now called Why I Hate My Teacher. That's more like it, thought Henry, and he read on. My teacher is the best. She's kind, she's fun, and she makes learning a joy. I am so lucky to be in Miss Lovely's class. Hip, hip, hooray for Miss Lovely. Oh dear, worse and worse, thought Horrid Henry. Tap, 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 tap. My teacher is the worst. Still missing something, thought Henry. Tap, tap. My fat teacher is the worst. That's more like it, thought Henry. Now for the rest of it. Tap, 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 tap. My fat teacher is the worst. She's mean, she's horrible, and she makes learning a misery. I am so unlucky to be in Miss Ugly's class. Boo, hiss for Miss Ugly. Ah, much better. Now that's what I call an essay, thought Horrid Henry, and he pressed save, then switched off the computer and tiptoed back to bed. No! Horrid Henry jumped out of bed. Mum was shrieking, Dad was shrieking, Peter was shrieking. Honestly, couldn't anyone get any rest around here? He stomped down the stairs. Everyone was gathered round the computer. Do something, shouted Dad. I need that report now. I'm trying, shouted Mum. And she pressed a few keys. It's jammed, she said. My essay, wailed Perfect Peter. My spreadsheet, wailed Mum. My report, wailed Dad. What's wrong? Said Henry innocently. The computer's broken, said Dad. How I hate these horrible machines, said Mum. You've got to fix it, said Dad. I've got to hand in my report this morning. I can't, said Mum. The computer won't let me in. I don't understand, said Dad. We've never needed a password before. Suddenly, Horrid Henry realised what was wrong. He'd set a new password. No one could use the computer without it. Mum and Dad didn't know anything about passwords. All Horrid Henry had to do to fix the computer was to type in the password smelly socks. I might be able to help, Dad, said Horrid Henry. Really? Said Dad, looking doubtful. Are you sure? Said Mum, also looking doubtful. I'll try, said Horrid Henry. He sat down in front of the computer. Whoops! No, I can't, said Horrid Henry. Why not? Said Mum. 'Cause I'm banned from the computer, said Henry. Remember? All right, you're unbanned, said Dad, scowling. Just hurry up, will you? I have to be at school with my essay in 10 minutes, moaned Peter. And I have to get to work, moaned Mum. I'll do my best, said Horrid Henry. But this is a very hard problem to solve. He tapped a few keys and frowned at the screen. Do you know what's wrong, Henry? Asked Dad. The hard disk is disconnected from the harder disk, and the hardest disk has slipped, said Horrid Henry. Oh, said Dad. Ah, said Mum. Huh? Said Perfect Peter. You learn that stuff in computer class next year, said Horrid Henry. Now stand back, everyone. You're making me nervous. Mum, Dad and Peter stepped back. You're our last hope, Henry, said Mum. I will fix this on one condition, said Henry. Anything, said Dad. Anything, said Mum. Deal, said Horrid Henry, and typed in the password. Whir, spits. Horrid Henry scooped up Mum's spreadsheet, Dad's report and Perfect Peter's essay from the printer and handed them round. Oh, thank you so much, said Dad. Oh, thank you so much, said Mum. Perfect Peter beamed at his beautifully printed essay, then put it carefully into his school bag. He'd never handed in a printed essay before. He couldn't wait to see what Miss Lovely said. Oh my goodness, Peter, what a smart-looking essay you've written, said Miss Lovely. It's all about you, Miss Lovely, said Peter, beaming. Would you like to read it? Of course, said Miss Lovely. I'll read it to the class. She cleared her throat and began. Miss Lovely stopped reading. Her face went pink. Peter, she gasped. Go straight to the head, now. But, is it because my essay is so good? Squeaked Peter. No, shouted Miss Lovely. Oh! Wailed Perfect Peter. Peow! Bang! Rat-a-tat-tat! Another intergalactic robot bit the dust. Now, what shall I play next? Thought Horrid Henry happily. Snake Master's Revenge 3? Zippy Zapper? Best of all, Perfect Peter had been banned from the computer for a week after Miss Lovely had phoned Mum and Dad to tell them about Peter's rude essay. Peter blamed Henry. Henry just blamed the computer. He's won again, hasn't he? I wonder if he'll ever get caught out properly. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Goodbye, children. See you again next time.